After the Whistle starts in Patton, and it starts with a bang. Let's take another look as Cambria Heights' Garrett Jasper lays down the law, stopping Bishop McCourt's John Delia in his tracks. Hello and welcome back to After the Whistle. Our crews are just getting back into the studio from that game and others all around District 6. Live from University Park, I'm Justin Chevalella.
And I'm Jack Roshinsky. We'll bring you all the highlights from the District 6 playoffs this week, plus a look at Penn State's top 5 matchup with the Ohio State Buckeyes tomorrow. Stick around for all that and more right here on After the Whistle.
After losing their first game of the season on the ultimate week of the season, that was last week to Penn Cambria, the Bishop Guilfoyle Marauders welcomed the Juniata Valley Hornets to Mansion Park for the first round of the 1A playoffs. These teams have met 6 times in the playoffs, with BG winning 5 of those matchups. Now to Mansion Park, where the Marauders are going to start with the football. 1st and 10 from the 35, quarterback Chase Kissel throws a quick pass to Hamilton Gates, who opens the gates, running it across the field and breaks a few tackles, picking up a gain of 27. Now on that same drive, 1st and goal from the 1, Gates gets the handoff, flies into the end zone for the opening touchdown, opening the floodgates as BG goes up 7-0. Second possession of the game for the home team. It's who else but Gates diving across. He got in. 14-0 Marauders pouring it on at the end of the first. Midway through the second, Marauders backed up on their own 2. Kissel lets it fly to an open Gates in between 2 defenders. Despite being covered, he was still open, making the catch. Gates would cap off the drive with his 3rd touchdown of the first half, making it 21-0 Marauders. BG went into the half with a 28-0 lead and would take this one by a final score of 49-0. Juniata Valley's season comes to an end at 4-7. For Bishop Guilfoyle, their season continues next week against Claysburg-Kimmel.
The last time the Penns Manor Comets played the Moshannon Valley Black Knights in the playoffs, it was back in 2016 when the Comets took the victory. Tonight, they look to take another win in a 1A matchup. Friday Night Football featured fumbles and flags all night long in Houtsdale. 1st and 10 from the 18-yard line, Penns Manor's pass is intercepted by the Knights' Chase Mittal just outside the end zone. But we had 1 interception. Let's have 2, but this one is going all the way to the house. Caden Kephart picked off by the Comets' Dylan Kazemchak. And a successful 2-point conversion would make it 8-0 Penns Manor. Moshannon's offensive struggles continued as Moshannon Valley quarterback Brady Mahalko is sacked, dropped by Penns Manor's Brady Lewis. Let's go to 5:35 left in the second. At the 8-yard line, second quarter, Amin Lee fires to Kazemchak, who's pretty good at this football thing, for the touchdown. Another 2-point conversion would make it 16-0. The Comets soared tonight with a final score of 30-8.
In all 10 of their games this season, Cambria Heights held their opponents to less than 14 points en route to an undefeated season. Bishop McCourt ended their regular season on a 2-game losing streak. We're going to pick things up in the second half as Bishop McCourt leads 17-10. 3rd down, Highlanders' Isaac Whalen steps back and fires across the field to Stephen Nellen for a 15-yard gain and a fresh set of down. Cambria Heights goes right back to the air a play later when Whalen rolls out and connects with a diving Marshall Eckenrode for another first down.
Talk about showing off the athletics.
Eckenrode gets the handoff. It's those athletics and power again, going and bulldozing into the end zone to tie the ball game up at 17 apiece with 2 minutes to go in the third. Now on the ensuing Bishop McCourt possession, John Delia bounces outside, then gets crushed by Garrett Jasper. That was our cold open. You remember that one. We'll watch it in slow-mo again. At the end of the quarter, Angelo Gallucci has trouble with the snap. We've heard that plenty of times. On a 4th down attempt, Bishop McCourt turns it over on downs. Cambria Heights would go on to win 24-17. The Highlanders remain undefeated at 11-0, escaping trouble, and move on to the second round. Meanwhile, the Crushers' season ends at a crushing 5-6.
Now let's look at some scores from around District 6. The Portage Mustangs fell to the Northern Cambria Colts 27-7 at Duffy Daugherty Memorial Stadium. Over to Glendale, the Vikings played the Claysburg-Kimmel Bulldogs, and the Bulldogs would take down those Vikings 32-22. The Marion Center Stingers defeated the Mount Union Trojans 35-27 in a thrilling overtime game, and the Richland Rams pushed through the United Valley defense tonight, winning the game 37-12.
Over to Tyrone and Forest Hills for a 3A matchup. Forest Hills gets shut out by Tyrone, losing 44-0. The DuBois and Cathedral Prep game was a high score tonight, with DuBois narrowly winning 45-42. The McDowell Trojans would win it big against the Erie Royals 28-14 at Erie. Our last in-district score is Homer Center at Conemaugh Township, with Conemaugh Township winning 27-7.
For the past 3 years, the Central Dragons have met the Penn Cambria Panthers, with Central winning all 3 times. But tonight, the Dragons head to Penn Cambria Stadium to try to keep that streak alive against the Panthers in the 3A matchup. The Penn Cambria enters the playoff matchup against Central. We're going to head over to the second quarter, where it's going to be Gavin Harold. You've heard his name plenty of times on this show, running it in from 11 yards out. It would be a failed 2-point conversion, keeping it 6-0 Penn Cambria. But later in the second quarter, inside the 5, it's Harold again, running it straight up the gut and straight into the end zone, but it would be another failed 2-point conversion. The Panthers take a 12-0 lead heading into the half. We'll head to the third quarter, and it's Gavin Harold getting it done on defense this time. Flip the script with the pick, capping it off with a 26-yard return. And on the very next play, stop me if you heard this one before, it's Gavin Harold who's going to run it into the end zone for his 3rd touchdown of the game.
Not
Penn
one, not 2, but how about 3, Jack?
Yeah, he's doing it all tonight, and they would take the lead 20-0. All Panthers in the second half, they shut out Central 33-0 to get the win and remain undefeated on the season.
Thanks, Jack. The Penn Cambria Panthers and Central Dragons have faced off 3 times over the past 3 seasons in the playoffs, with Central coming out on top each of those times. The undefeated Panthers, led by Gavin Harold, have other ideas, though. After a dominant regular season, Harold picked up right where he left off.
Amazing. It's always great winning a big game, and couldn't have done it without my brothers.
Harold had 3 touchdowns and an interception on the night.
Your seniors, player like Gav, are your best players because they're your hardest workers right now, and he's done an outstanding job. He's so versatile on both sides of the ball. We're going to put him in so many different places on offense. You've seen that.
With Harold's performance, the Panthers defeated the Dragons 33-0, breaking their playoff losing streak against Central and keeping their undefeated season alive. The last time the Penn Cambria Panthers went undefeated was 1989. Nick Fellis was just a 6th grader watching his older brother Carmen quarterback that team. 35 years later, Nick Fellis is now the head coach of Penn Cambria, leading the Panthers on a playoff run.
To be able to do stuff that they were able to do is awesome, but we talked about the qualities that team had, the grittiness, the toughness, the determination. This group's the same way.
On a cold night, the Panthers defense showed up, shutting out the Dragons and keeping their hot streak alive. For After the Whistle, I'm Massimo Manfra. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Massimo. After sneaking their way into the playoffs after losing their last 5 games of the regular season, the Greater Johnstown Trojans made an hour-and-a-half trip to Bellefonte to battle the Red Raiders in a 4A matchup. We're going to flip into the action on this breezy Friday night, and oh boy, my body hurts just watching that. Let's flip late into the first quarter. Bellefonte already up as Liam Halterman, the quarterback, keep for the touchdown, looking like Penn State's Bo Prabula. The extra point would be good, just like this handshake. Sweet, as Bellefonte goes up 14-0.
Oh, that was a smooth handshake.
Greater Johnstown trying to respond with their own quarterback keep by Julius Reed. He'd get in, but the 2-point conversion is no good as Bellefonte remains on top 14-6. The Trojans' luck seemingly turning around until Jackson Long picks off the short pass from Reed, and the Red Raiders would capitalize on the opportunity as Halterman connects with Jaden Grabazik in the end zone. Extra point is no bueno, and Bellefonte extends their lead to 26. The Red Raiders extend their lead off another Trojans turnover as Halterman keeps and runs into his end zone himself. A little deja vu. The Red Raiders would keep the pedal to the metal as they went on to beat the Trojans 38-18. For Greater Johnstown, their season ends under the lights of Rogers Stadium. Bellefonte's playoff run remains alive as they play Juniata next week.
Lower Dauphin has been hot coming into the playoffs, winning their last 4 games. But tonight, they travel to Bishop McDevitt to play the Crusaders, who are coming off of a shootout loss against State College in a 5A matchup. And we'll start this one off with a guy that has made his name known. That's Stone Saunders, the Kentucky commit. He's going to fire the ball to Jonte Quick, who will show that quickness as he barrels into the end zone for a 10-yard touchdown.
Are you
7-0.
sure that's not Shadur Sanders?
Yeah, it might be at this point. Next one, it's Saunders finding Liam Fuller, the tight end, from 5 yards out. Saunders with a solid first half to make it 14-0. Next play we'll go to is the running back Nazir Jones-Davis taking the head up the gut for an 11-yard touchdown to get his team back in the game. And Nazir Jones-Davis would do it right again. Deja vu, handing it off, cutting his way through the defense for a 10-yard score, like a hot knife through butter. Bishop McDevitt would go on to defeat Lower Dauphin by a final score of 42-7. The Crusaders improved to 9-2 and keep their season alive and send the Falcons home with a 6-5 record.
Taylor Alderdice has not had much success against Hollidaysburg in the past. They've met 3 times, all during regular season action, and the Tigers have won all 3 games. Tonight, the Dragons head to Tiger Stadium to face Hollidaysburg for the first time in the playoffs. Our Chase Fisher was there tonight.
Thanks, Justin. Hollidaysburg came into tonight with a 9-1 record, their first winning season since 2021. And in the first round of the playoffs, they got to face a team that they had already beaten earlier in the season in Taylor Alderdice. Hollidaysburg would get off to a hot start early against the Dragons, as it would be Mitchell Baraner punching it in from a few yards out on the first drive of the game to give the Golden Tigers an early 7-0 lead. Then on their next drive, it would be Baraner again, walking it in from just a yard out to put the Golden Tigers up 14-0. Then Hollidaysburg is at the goal line again, and this time it's Carter Muth joining the party as he scores from a yard out. And then it was back to Baraner as he would take this one 57 yards for the hat trick, his 3rd touchdown of the half. And then the Golden Tiger defense would get involved as Evan Schneeberger would force a fumble and Jacob Brua would recover. In the end, it was all Hollidaysburg as the Golden Tigers would go on to win 41-8.
And they worked hard. They never quit. We had a great off season. A lot of guys in the weight room getting bigger, faster, and stronger, and it's paying off.
With the victory over the Dragons, the Golden Tigers continue their terrific season going into the next round of the playoffs when they face off against Du Bois. With After the Whistle, I'm Chase Fisher. Justin and Jack, back to you guys.
Thanks, Chase. Well, it might be a cold November night, but the playoffs sure are heating up. So let's check out some of the brackets and how they're shaping up for the next week. In 1A, Bishop Guilfoyle will host Claysburg-Kimmel, and Northern Cambria will host Penn's Manor in the semifinals. The 2A semis will see Bellwood-Antis visit Cambria Heights, and Marion Center take a trip to Richland. In 3A, a district champion will be crowned next week as Tyrone faces Penn Cambria.
Another district championship will be awarded in 4A as Bellefonte, what a turnaround for them, clashes with Juniata. The 5A district title will be decided next week when Du Bois heads to Hollidaysburg. The District 10 and District 6 sub-regional for 6A will feature McDowell hitting the road to face State College. Stick around as we look at some out-of-town scores from around Pennsylvania.
And coming up, we'll take a look at Penn State's titanic Big Ten clash. Well, thank you for those theatrics, and we welcome you back from the Willard Building at Penn State's University Park campus.
Well, there's a lot of fans flipping out as the Ohio State Buckeyes are in town to play Penn State in a top 5 matchup. Our reporter Allie Wenskowski is here in the studio with more. Allie?
Justin, it seems like every game in Happy Valley just gets bigger and bigger, and this week is no different. At practice this week, the team sought to make sure that they were Buckeye ready, including figuring out what QB will be calling the shots. Let's see what head coach James Franklin had to say.
It seems like every week, Penn State has a tougher team to face. Last week, the Blue and White played well against unranked Wisconsin, dropping 14 points in the fourth quarter to get the 28-13 win. This weekend, the Nittany Lions will play their rivaled Ohio State at home. Although traditionally labeled the underdog in this matchup, Penn State comes into the game as the higher-ranked seed, the third, compared to Ohio State as the fourth. At Wednesday's practice, defensive end Abdul Carter said that this would be a defining moment for the 2024 squad.
Yeah, I feel like you don't really know who you are or what kind of team you have until you go through adversity. And that going through that adversity makes that championship team, that team that's built to fight. So
Penn State goes into the weekend undefeated, but it seems like that is where their favoritism ends. Head coach James Franklin has never won against Ohio State head coach Ryan Day, going 0-5. Also, in both 2017 and 2018, the Nittany Lions surrendered their undefeated season to the Buckeyes. There is also the question of who will be Penn State's starting quarterback. Drew Aller left last week's game in the first half after an apparent left knee injury. Backup quarterback Bo Pribula finished out the game looking the best he's looked all season. Franklin said the coaching staff is only considering Aller or Pribula.
If Drew was unable to practice, then Grunk's getting reps. But if you try to get 3 quarterbacks ready, you get 0 quarterbacks ready. So you guys saw Drew was able to take reps today, so the reps have gone between Drew and Bo.
The last time that Penn State beat the Buckeyes at home was the 2016 whiteout. Nittany Lion fans poured onto the field in celebration of the 24-21 win. Jack and Justin, this could just be the year.
Well, we'll have to wait to see exactly if it's the year, but I can tell you something's certainly in the air in Happy Valley, and it's not just the autumn weather. Both Fox's Big Noon Kickoff and ESPN's College Game Day will host their shows at Penn State tomorrow for the big game. This is the first time that Big Noon Kickoff and College Game Day will be at Penn State at the same time. People already started camping out in anticipation for the shows. College Game Day last attended a Penn State game in 2021. They've announced that Keegan-Michael Key will be the guest picker on the show. College Game Day will begin at 9, and Big Noon Kickoff will kick off at 10.
And now let's take a look at our top 3 plays of the week.
Number 3 play is a catch by Marauders' Hamilton Gates, who runs it into the end zone between 2 defenders for a score.
Number 2 is Penn's Manor's Dylan Kazemchak cueing the Elvis Presley return to sender, catching an interception and returning it for a successful Penn's Manor pick 6.
And for our number 1 play of the opening round of the playoffs, it's another one from the Marauders and another one from Hamilton Gates, who catches it and opens the gates of the defense, blazing through defenders.
Looking like Antonio Gates out there.
But certainly not like Bill Gates.
Well, he made that defense look Microsoft, if you will.
Wow.
But that's all we got from District 6 football tonight. For more updates about our show and our coverage of games, follow us on our Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at ATWPSU. I'm Jack Raczynski.
And I'm Justin Chevalella. Tune in next week for more coverage of high school football and Penn State football right here on After the Whistle.